fire over the weekend in Cat Lake First Nation has left the community without vital health services. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Cat Lake has declared a state of emergency after a fire that decimated the nursing station on Saturday night and damaged water systems in the isolated community.
The chief is calling on the federal government to support immediate action to restore even basic health services. Lee Noonan joins us in studio with more. Lee?
Thank you, Riley. Cat Lake is working hard to get a temporary clinic set up as soon as possible. In the meantime, the First Nation is left without medical supplies or even running water and facing the possibility of evacuating its most vulnerable community members. A fire has leveled the Margaret Gray Nursing Station in Cat Lake First Nation, destroying the community's healthcare facilities, including the nurses' quarters, as well as medical equipment, medication, and any medical records that weren't backed up. No injuries were reported, but the loss of the facility means those with serious health conditions may need to be evacuated. At least one person already has.
Those vulnerables that have kidney issues, heart disease issues, issues with the lungs, like asthma patients, things like that.
Chief Russell Wesley says there were 3 nurses living and working in the building at the time of the fire. They escaped the blaze and have remained in the community, providing what care they can out of a makeshift clinic. Wesley says he appreciates their diligence.
They're providing very limited personal visits at that facility, but they don't have any meds. They don't have any medical tools.
The fire also caused a serious leak in the community's water systems, leaving the reservoir empty while the leak is found and isolated. Wesley is calling on the federal government to act quickly and get trailers, equipment, supplies, and medication transported to the community in the coming weeks, while the winter road is still open. Indigenous Services Minister Patty Haidu says that plan is already in motion. She acknowledges that the need is urgent.
Horrifying news coming out of Cat Lake. Losing a nursing station is no joke. These are obviously not just infrastructure facilities that people are relying on for healthcare needs of all sorts, but centers of community for preventative health, for treatment, and for urgent care.
Long-term, Haidu also commits to the construction of a new facility. The nursing station was built in 1985. Chief Wesley says there is deep sadness at the loss of the building, but he says the people of Cat Lake will pull through.
I think we'll be okay. Cat Lake is very resilient. The people are resilient, and typically humor is something that gets the community through no matter how bad things get.
Anishinaabe Police Services are investigating the blaze. Sources close to the investigation suggest the cause could have been electrical, but say it's too early to say anything definitive, as the Ontario Fire Marshal's Office has yet to begin their expert investigation. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
A preliminary hearing began today for a man charged in a 2022 Thunder Bay homicide. 33-year-old Justin Coaster is charged with second-degree murder in connection with the death of 37-year-old Charlie Finlayson. It happened in July of 2022 on McMillan Street. Coaster was arrested and charged the next month following a lengthy police standoff on Blucher Avenue. The preliminary hearing is scheduled for 4 days to determine if there's enough evidence for the case to go to trial. There's a publication ban on all evidence being presented at this stage of the proceedings.
A pair of mining companies in the race to become Ontario's first lithium producer made big announcements today at the annual Prospectors and Developers Conference in Toronto. Frontier Lithium announced a joint venture partnership with the Mitsubishi Corporation. The Japanese company will invest $25 million to secure a 7.5% ownership share in the Pac lithium deposit located north of Red Lake. The lithium ore would be processed for use in electric vehicle batteries. Frontier CEO Trevor Walker says they plan to start mining at the site by 2027 and have a lithium refinery set up somewhere near the Great Lakes by 2030.
Is about creating a partnership or creating the foundation towards advancing the really strategic Tier 1 resource located in northwestern Ontario, the Pac Lithium project. So Pac project boasts the highest grade for lithium resource in North America. It's really large tonnage, top 3 in size on the continent. and really high quality.
Meanwhile, RockTech Lithium has announced the former mill site in Red Rock has been chosen for its future lithium processing facility. The refinery will be built on land owned by the BMI Group, with that company contributing $5.5 million to the project. The lithium feedstock will come from RockTech's Georgia Lake deposit, located just 100 kilometers away near Beardmore.
Thunder Bay City Council is being asked to approve nearly $1.1 million tonight to begin cover work on the west cell of the city landfill on Maple Ward Road. It's recommended that work be awarded to Nadine Contracting, which submitted the lowest bid out of the 11 responses. It came in lower than the pre-tender estimate for the contract, which was $1.19 million. The overall plan is to construct a cover on the filled portion of the west cell at the solid waste and recycling facility to help enhance environmental protections.
Thunder Bay Superior North MPP Lise Vaugeois raised concerns at Queen's Park today about the removal of certain requirements during a G driver's test. It comes after an Auditor General's report criticized the changes. The NDP member says it's made Ontario roads more dangerous.
The Auditor General identified major concerns about the Ministry's decision to lower the standards to earn a driver's license. Some drivers are being trained and tested on a single route. Drivers with repeat suspensions, if not required to retrain, are responsible for 6 times the rate of fatal collisions. The Attorney General's report is clear. A lack of standards and oversight at drive test centres is leading to an increase in serious accidents. Minister, when will you return drive test requirements to their previous higher standard?
Ontario has the safest roads in all of North America due to the many measures that we have put in place to ensure that our roads remain safe. In January 2023, our government mandated the use of electronic logging for vehicles, commercial vehicles. We're helping improve driver safety, road safety. But, Mr. Speaker, we've also introduced legislations like the MOMS Act that increases and makes the driver's license suspension even longer.
A Thunder Bay OPP officer helped prevent a potentially serious accident this weekend. A transport truck was spotted on Saturday afternoon on the Thunder Bay Expressway, traveling much slower than the speed limit. And then 2 of the wheels came right off the vehicle. The incident was captured on the cruiser's dash camera along the expressway near Red River Road. The officer was trying to pull over the transport to find out why it was traveling so slowly. But when the wheels came off, the officer quickly maneuvered his vehicle to stop the tires before they rolled into oncoming traffic. A 30-year-old man has been charged with driving an unsafe vehicle and driving with a major defect. The company also faces charges. The OPP reminds transport drivers to always conduct a pre-trip inspection and to pull over immediately if a major defect is discovered.
Thunder Bay Jeopardy fans have a lot to get excited about as Ray Lalonde returns for the Tournament of Champions tonight. Born and raised in Thunder Bay, Lalonde captured the attention of viewers across Canada last year when he won 13 straight games and qualified for the big tournament. During his initial run on the show, Lalonde racked up more than $386,000 of winnings. If he goes on to win the Tournament of Champions, he can add a grand total prize of $250,000 to his total. There are 27 other champs competing to see who's the best of the best. In Lalonde's quarter-final matchup, he'll compete against Celebrity Jeopardy champion Ike Barinholtz. Lalonde is one of 2 Canadians competing in the tournament. He explains what it's like to feel the whole country's support.
Sort of, like the Raptors and that, you get the idea, people from Chicago, root for you. When you're from Canada, it's everybody. I had stuff from the East Coast, I had stuff from BC. It's like having a whole country backing you up, and it's really nice.
Lalonde's first appearance in the tournament will air tonight, but he'll have to win in order to move on to the next round.
Some local kids kept an eagle eye out this weekend while learning about some native bird species with the Lakehead Region Conservation Authority. They
were invited to Wishart Conservation Area off Onion Lake Road to learn the names and sounds of birds before seeing them in person. Jessica Clement has the story.
The downy woodpecker, black-capped chickadee, red-breasted nuthatch, and blue jay were the 4 local bird species kids had the chance to learn about Saturday morning with the Lakehead Region Conservation Authority.
Blue jay! Red jay!
The event brought children between the ages of 5 and 8 to Wishart Conservation Area to participate in various games, which helped them learn the names and sounds of the birds, as well as how to use binoculars. LRCA Education Coordinator Rachel Zacharias-Bezanson says they've held similar events for older children, but wanted to get younger kids involved in the learning process.
I, for the first time, ran Thunder Bay's first annual Christmas bird count at the end of January, and I aimed it at kids age 8 and over, and I had a few people say, hey, what about younger kids? So I designed an event that is shorter with more games, and we are going to be working with younger kids.
The lesson finished with a short walk to bird feeders to meet the birds in person. Zacharias-Bezanson says children's seemingly natural fascination with birds make them a wonderful ambassador to the wildlife that live around Thunder Bay.
They are accessible, they're colorful, they can come and visit our houses. So I think that kids learning early what the names of some of the birds are really brings a sense of the environment and their wild neighbors into their lives.
More information about future educational wildlife events can be found on the LRCA's website. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Our Kids Count is relaunching its Cam River Ultimate Duck Race fundraiser after postponing it back in September due to low water levels. The event will now take place May 4th at Fort William Historical Park, still in partnership with the Cam River Fighting Walleye. There are 3,000 rubber duckies available for purchase. In 2 months, the ducks will all be released into the Cam River around the fort. The person whose duck crosses the finish line first will win the $10,000 grand prize. There will also be cash prizes for 2nd through 4th place. Organizers say it's important to give back to the community by supporting a fun event like this one.
The Cam River Fighting Walleye loves all of our partnerships. They're very important that we work closely with Our Kids Count. They do a lot for the community, and that is something that is very important to us as well, is community involvement, getting in there and our presence known and building those relationships with the community.
There's been a lot of anticipation about the event. We've been waiting a long time, and now we're, like I said, a couple of months away, and we're just really, really excited about it. It's going to be so fun to watch all of the ducks go down the river and everyone cheering on their duck.
I think it's a great opportunity to connect with yet another organization in the community. Over the last couple of years, we've been trying to strengthen our connections to various community organizations. This seemed like a fairly easy one.
Yeah, it should be quite the visual. The rubber ducks cost $20 each or 6 for $100. They can be purchased at Play It Again Sports, ourkidscount.ca, or at a variety of community events this spring.
Loch Lomond and Mount Baldy ski hills are doing everything they can to make sure they're open next week during March break.
The recent warm weather and last night's downpour have forced both ski hills to close for an extra day this week to preserve their runs for the busy times ahead. Jaden Billick has more.
The month of February was 6 degrees warmer than normal, with half as much of the usual snowfall, according to Environment Canada. And the trend has continued in March, with the mercury hitting 8 degrees on both Friday and Saturday. Loch Lomond ski hill owner Jason Gary says it's not an ideal situation, and they're doing whatever it takes to keep the ski hill open and operating.
We have ample snow on all of the runs that we currently make snow on to make sure that we can get through the March break. We will be firing up snowmaking Tuesday night as long as the weather continues the way it's looking.
Thunder Bay was hit with an incredible rainstorm overnight, creating yet another detriment to the local ski hills. Gary says it forced them to close the doors here Monday to help preserve the hill's snow base as March break is just around the corner.
The rain started around 5 p.m. and yeah, it came down pretty hard for a while for us. And then with the fact that temperatures didn't go below freezing last night, we had to make the decision to close today.
Loch Lomond normally has 18 total runs in their ski area, but this year they've only been able to open 6 of them. Mount Baldy is facing the same challenges, as this year only 5 out of their 9 runs are open. Both ski hills have been waging an epic battle with Mother Nature, and it won't stop now, as there are just a few days before the kids all get a week off from school.
March break is generally one of our busiest weeks throughout the year. Behind the Christmas break, Family Day weekend, Our goal is to remain open throughout the March break, and hopefully as long as the weather will cooperate with us and through to the end of March.
Mount Baldy will be closed this Wednesday as a result of the unfavorable weather, but will open once again to their regular hours from Thursday to Sunday, and then every day during March break. Jaden Billick, TBT News.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of skiers and snowboarders who are hopeful that those ski hills can remain open all through March break. Fiona, we see that temperature behind you, 8 degrees. Certainly not conducive to skiing and snowboarding today.
But if anything has taught us something over the last week or so is that this time of year and this year, anything can happen, literally. My back door, I'm running out of space. I've got snow boots, I've got hiking shoes, I've got my sneakers from the weekend, and then after last night, I have rubber boots at my back door. And that's because with a high of 8, there's a lot of melting out there, but at night it is freezing. So what you want to make sure is that whatever you wear on your feet as you're heading out, you've got a lot of traction, because there is icing overnight as temperatures drop down last night to -1 and a wind chill of -3. That was just enough to cause a lot of ice after last night's thunderstorm and hail and rain and wind. Today the winds weren't quite as bad, but still pretty gusty from the southwest, 17 to 36 kilometers per hour. For the most part, it was a very windy day. Now across the region, we had snow earlier to the north, to the south, to the northwest. Second arm of this system pushing through, bringing rain to the northeastern shores of Lake Superior. So at this hour, we've got a mixed bag of temperatures. Now, Fort Frances, lots of sunshine, -3 and a wind chill of -10. But as you head further north into Red Lake, temperatures have been dropping steadily all afternoon. They're currently at -10 and wind chills hovering at -21 at this hour. It's hard to believe that they have wind chills -21, while here in Thunder Bay we're reaching 8 Celsius, but that is the case with 60 gale winds and all that snow and blowing snow this afternoon. Now, as you head into Kenora and Sioux Lookout, it starts to warm back up, and by the time you hit Armstrong and Upslow, you're back on the plus side again at 2. 5 in Greenstone with loads of sunshine, and we had lots of cloud in Sault Ste. Marie earlier today. There's a very strong possibility that today's high was a record, 13.1 Celsius. At this hour, they're at 12, and the rain has just started in the last hour. Here in the city of Thunder Bay tonight, as I said, in the overnight hours, we are staying cool, so -10 and a wind chill of -13 with just a few clouds. So after today's continued melting overnight tonight, it's going to get very icy. So as folks head out to work tomorrow, I really have to stress that they do need to be careful on the roads and even on the sidewalks.
Absolutely, Fiona. You know what? I actually brought out my ice melter because of last night. It's very scary. So
Very
extra
scary.
caution is needed for sure. Thank you so much. Well, when we come back, the federal government has announced when the federal budget will be tabled, and that date is April 16th. So we'll have more on that when we return.